We're back with Street Level Marketing. I'm your host, Mark, and I'm here with Shannon Richardson. And we really, we had a really great show so far, and we're coming up to the hour. But I wanted to really kind of get into like talking about, how you lead with strategy in a dynamic healthcare landscape. How strategic leadership and adaptability drive success in healthcare marketing. With so many industry shifts. Shannon, what are the top challenges facing healthcare marketers in today's rapidly changing landscape?
I think one of the key things is going to be budgeting and making sure you're seeing an ROI on whatever campaigns it is that you're running. So you want to make sure that you're seeing a return on whatever investment you're making. We really have to, from a business development standpoint, you have to justify things on two sides. You have to make sure the people that are handling the business side and the budgeting are happy with what it is we've been able to accomplish. And then we also want to make sure that the patient-centric side, the physicians and the clinical side are happy with the message that we've been able to get out as well. Typically, marketing and business development, you see the costs associated and with the campaigns that we're running. And then we have to go in and justify saying, we ran this campaign. It was a $200,000 campaign, whatever the number may be. And this is what we were able to garner from that investment. So that's one of the key things, is making sure that you're taking your budgeting, knowing what it is that you have to spend on a yearly basis. I know you and I would meet quarterly to kind of discuss where we were in the budget process and what it is that we had upcoming and what we had already processed and gotten through. So making sure that you are balancing what's going out and ensuring that you are getting a fair return on what's coming back.
Yeah, when we were doing the budgeting, it was, something kind of, I guess we should both be proud of is, when I started there, when we worked together, they had no marketing budget. They passed a significant one the first year. The next year, they passed a very significant second higher one. And then the third year, they passed another significant increase in the millions from $0. I think that's a testament to the being able to explain the results and the impact of the campaigns that you create, and making sure that, they understand in layman's terms what you're doing and ultimately how they grow their practices.
Without a doubt. And I think, their focus on a day-to-day is very different than what our focus was. And I think, like you said, it's something it's one of those pat ourselves on the back type of moments, because it went from nothing. It was kind of just, we think this would be a nice thing to do, and then someone would approve it, to saying, no, we're going to plan this in advance. We're going to look at what we have over the next 12 months. We're going to plan these campaigns, and we're going to make sure that we've allocated funds for those. And by allocating those funds, we're going to make sure that you're seeing a return on that, which, that first year when we got the budget approved, it was like, all right, we need to make sure that this is something that they see as a positive, because they're just seeing the dollars going out. But we very quickly saw a return. I think that was one of the key things we did really, really well. And a lot of it paid off, because when we went back the next year to ask for a little bit more, let us have a few more liberties and do a couple extra things, there was no challenge. They immediately had seen the impact that our team had on what it is we were trying to accomplish. And we were able to satisfy both sides, the business side as well as the clinical side, which was something I'm definitely proud of that we were able to do.
Yeah, and it's funny, every other department always had a fear of that yearly thing going in front of the board, and ours got passed pretty quickly, very with no kind of pushback.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. Yeah. But that's something that when you're doing a good job, and I think part of it is we were very meticulous and very thought out about what we wanted to do and what we needed to do to accomplish our goals. And we had all of the information. We made sure that we were keeping people in the loop on things as they were coming across. And, it really was a matter of just executing, and it went really well. So that was a good thing.
How can marketers develop a strategic mindset to stay ahead of industry trends?
You need to make sure that you're speaking to people outside of your own door. Make sure that you're engaging with others, because the challenges that you're seeing may be different than what else is out there in the field. And someone may be seeing a challenge now that you're going to run into 6 months from now, and you may have no clue that it's coming. So if you're keeping yourself in the loop with things that are happening outside of just your building, it can be beneficial, because it gives you a head start on something that may come up that you may have to deal with down the line.
Yeah, I think it's really coming down to educating yourself on your craft and staying ahead of the trends and knowing what's new and what's innovative and what's working.
Definitely.
You know, when you get off the clock, you don't just go home to have fun. You gotta, give yourself some self information that can make you better at your job.
Without a doubt.
What's the role of data analytics in shaping modern healthcare marketing strategies?
We are fortunately at a spot where everything is accounted for, monitored, and can be utilized for strategic planning. Everything that happens in an office, everything that happens, every click that happens on someone's computer is accounted for. So we are the most informed as a society as we've ever been. We know more now than we've ever known, and that can be a blessing and a curse at sometimes, I guess you would say, but we have the opportunity to really, really be ahead of what's coming up next because the information is readily available to everyone. Just things as simple as claims reimbursement information. So we're able to see, what procedures are being done in what areas, which physicians are utilizing these services throughout their day-to-day patient engagement. And we're able to target them. Target may not be the right word, but we're able to collaborate with them to ensure that we are offering our most beneficial products or services to make sure that they are functioning as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, I mean, how are you leading a team to execute these, the marketing plan under tight deadlines?
I am in no way. Being a micromanager, I know being a micromanager has such a bad connotation to it. Everyone says, "Oh, that's like the worst thing you can do, the worst thing you can be." I think that as a leader, you want to make sure you're informed and you know what it is that your people are doing. You want to make sure that everyone's on the right path and sharing the common goal. But if your leadership style really is focused around being very, very engaged on a day-to-day, then you need to be a little bit careful because with what we're doing, you really need to be able to let your team go out there and be their most be as engaged as possible, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You want to make sure that we're not holding them back by over engaging with them. Everything that marketing and business development does is typically outside of our building. You're engaging with the community, you're engaging with other practices, hospitals, so forth and so on. So you really want your people to be comfortable being out in the field and working on those types of things. From a leadership standpoint, your main goal is to give them the tools that they need to be able to go out there and work independently to grow the business.
Yeah. How do you measure the long-term impact of a marketing strategy in healthcare?
Metrics are available, so you're always able to see, increases in patient load, increases in call inquiries, increases in web traffic. Anyone that's kind of engaged as a result of a campaign that you've run. So if you're running, say you're running a heart health month campaign, you're able to see based on your website and some of the traffic that's come in, from the time you ran the campaign to the time prior to that, how much traffic was pushed towards your website. You can also designate specific web addresses that will allow you to account for certain things and allow you to see exactly who it is that's been engaging based on what campaign it is that they saw or what they clicked on online.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, I appreciate you coming on the show again. It was a lot of great information.
Of course.
We're getting ready to run out of time, so I want to give the viewers an opportunity to get your information. That way there, if they want to reach out, have any questions, they can do that. So why don't you just, give the viewers your info?
Yeah, it's Shannon Richardson's the name. You can look me up online. I don't necessarily have a website or something that you would be able to go into. I'm working right now. My primary function, I'm working with cardiac rhythm management for Abbott medical devices, and also doing some consulting for some of the healthcare practices in the area. But I really appreciate you having me back on the show. Absolutely love doing this with you, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Thank you. Well, we come to that hour. I want to thank everybody for watching Street Level Marketing. You know, it was a great episode, and stay tuned next week for another episode of Street Level Marketing. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mark. Thanks.